Hello students, in today's class we will study real functions. So let's start. The images used in our slide deck are for educational purposes only. We respect the intellectual property rights of the original creators and owners of these images. If you are the owner of any of the images used in this deck and have any concerns or issues, please contact us at sathi@iitk.ac.in and we shall remove the images. So first is learning and revision of the day. So first we will study real valued function and real function. After that we will see the domain and ranges of real function. Next we will move to the algebra of real functions. We will see the inverse functions, basic functions and nature of a function. So let's move. First is real valued function and real function. A function f which is defined from set A to set B is said to be a real valued function if B is subset or equal to B is subset of R, the set of real numbers, right? If both A and B are subset of R, the set of real numbers, then F is called real function. Okay. Here you can note that every real function is a real valued function, but converse need not to be true, right? Every real function is a real valued function, but every real valued function is not a real function, right? We have to take care of this, right? Next, we will see the domain and range of a real function. The domain of y is equal to fx is the set of all real x for which fx is defined or real, right? Range of y equal to fx is collection of all distinct images corresponding to each real number in the domain, right? We can note that if a function f from a to b, then a will be domain of f and b will be the codomain of f, right? To find range, first of all, find the domain of y equal to fx, right? First step is we will first find the domain of y equal to fx. After that, if domain has a finite number of points, then range is a set of f images of these points, right? Range is the set of f, right? And images of these points is called the range. If the domain of R or R minus some finite points express x in terms of y, then find the values of y for which the values of x lie in the domain. If domain is a finite interval, find the least and greatest values for range using monotonicity, right? Clear? So next, let's see algebra of real functions. Let f is a function from set x to r and g is a function from set x to r be two real functions that sum of f plus g is from set x to r defined as f plus gx is equal to fx plus gx, right? The difference f minus g x to x minus r, f minus g is from x minus r defined as f minus gx is equal to fx minus gx, right? The product f into g from x to r is defined as f g x is equal to fx into gx. If f plus g and fg are defined only, f plus g and fg are defined only if f and g have same domain. In case of domain of f and g are different, the domain of f plus g or fg is equal to domain of f intersection domain of g, right? The product of cf is some real number, c is some real number, right? The product cf x from x to r defined as cfx is equal to c of cfx, where c is a real number, right? The quotient f by g is a function defined as f by gx is equal to fx upon gx provided gx not equal to 0, x belongs to capital X, right? If domain of y is equal to fx and domain of and y equal to gx are d1 and d2 respectively, then domain of fx plus minus gx or fx into gx is d1 intersection d1 intersection d2, while domain of fx upon gx is d1 intersection d2 minus x such that gx not equal to 0, right? So gs should not be equal to 0, right? So domain is d1 intersection d2 minus x such that gx equal to 0. So we have removed the points where gx equal to 0 from d1 intersection d2, right? Okay, let's move to algebra of real functions. First, we will see equal or identical functions. So what are the conditions of equal or identical functions? Two functions f and g are said to be equal if the domain of f is equal to domain of g. The range of f, first thing should be the domain of f is equal to domain of g. Second thing should be the range of f is equal to range of g. Third, fx equal to gx for fx should be equal to gx for all x belongs to domain, right? After that, we will see the inverse functions. It says if f such that f is a function from a to b is a bijective function, then the mapping f inverse from b to a, which associate each element b belongs to capital B to a unique element a belongs to capital A, such that fa is equal to b, is called the inverse function of f. Next is f inverse b is equal to a. If f inverse b is equal to a, this implies f a is equal to b, and converse is also true. If f a is equal to b, this implies f inverse b is equal to a, right? The curves y equal to fx and y is equal to f inverse x are mirrored images of each other in the line mirror y is equal to fx, right? So y is equal to fx and y equal to f inverse x are basically mirror image of each other with respect to line y equal to x. Text f is invertible if and only if f is 1 1 and on 2, right? Next is inverse of bijective function is unique and bijective, right? Inverse of a bijective function is unique and bijective. The solution of fx equal to f inverse x are same as the solution of fx equal to x, right? Now next, if f of g is equal to I, is equal to g of f is, and then f and g are inverse of each other, right? Clear? You have to remember this. Next is f of f inverse is basically IB, some function I. F inverse of f is equal to IA, and f inverse of f inverse is f. If f and g are two bijectives such that GOF exists, then GOF is also bijective, and GOF inverse is equal to f inverse OG inverse, right? Basic functions. Basic functions can be categorized into following categories. First, algebraic function. A function say fx is called an algebraic function if it consists finite number of terms involving powers and roots of the independent variable x and the four algebraic operations plus, minus, multiplication and division. Some algebraic functions are given below. First is polynomial functions, right? So let's see polynomial functions. The function fx is equal to a naught x to the power n plus a1 x to the power n minus 1 plus a2 x to the power n minus 2 till an minus 1 x plus an, where a naught, a1, a2 and till an are real numbers and n belongs to capital N, is known as polynomial function if a naught not equal to 0, then n is degree of polynomial, right? If a naught not equal to 0, then n is degree of polynomial function. Domain of polynomial function is R, right? Domain is R. A polynomial of odd degree has range minus infinity to infinity, but a polynomial of even degree has a range which is always subset of R, right? Next is constant function. The function fx equal to k, where k is constant, is known as a constant function. Its domain is R and range is k, right? Identity function. The function fx equal to x is known as identity function. If its domain is R and range is R, right? Then it is called an identity function. Clear? Next is rational function. The function fx equal to px upon qx, where px and qx are polynomial functions and qx not equal to 0 is called rational function. Its domain is R except x such that qx equal to 0, right? Next is irrational function. The algebraic functions containing one or more terms having non-integral rational power of x are called irrational functions. Example, y equal to fx equal to 2 root x minus cube root of x plus 6. It is irrational function, right? Because it has terms having non-integral rational power of x, right? Next is reciprocal function. It is basically the function fx equal to 1 by x is called the reciprocal function of x if its domain is all real value except 0, right? X should not be 0 and range is x should all real value except 0, right? Because if x is not equal to 0, then fx will not be equal to 0, right? So now next is piecewise functions. Piecewise functions are a special type of algebraic functions, absolute valued functions, right? Let's see absolute valued functions, modulus functions. The function fx equal to absolute value of x or modulus of x is represented as x when x greater than equal to 0 and minus x when x less than 0 is called modulus function, right? The graph of absolute value function or modulus function is basically this. See, you can see that y equal to x when x greater than 0 and y equal to minus x when x less than 0, right? So it is the basically graph of y equal to mod x or absolute value of x. Its domain is R, right? Domain is all real value and range is 0 to infinity, right? Because it is always positive, right? Properties of modulus function. Mod x less than equal to a, this imply x is from minus a to a. A should be greater than 0. Part B, when mod x greater than equal to a, this imply x less than equal to minus a or x greater than equal to a, where a is greater than 0. Next is x plus minus y. Mod of x plus minus y less than equal to mod x plus mod y. Next is mod of x plus minus y greater than equal to mod of mod x minus mod y, right? So you have to remember this. Next is signum function. The function fx equal to signum of x is basically represented as mod x upon x or x upon mod x. If x not equal to 0, right? If x not equal to 0, and it is represented as 1 when x greater than 0, minus 1 when x less than 0, and it is basically 0 if x is 0. Clear? So signum function is basically mod x upon x or x upon mod x if x not equal to 0 and 0 if x equal to 0, right? And this is basically the it can be basically represented like this. Clear? So graph of signum function can be represented as C. You can see this C. Y is basically 1 when x is greater than 0. Y is basically 0 when x equal to 0. And y is less than, y is basically minus 1 when x is less than 0. Right? Its domain is all real and range is minus 1, 0 and 1. Next is greatest integer function. The symbol greatest integer function indicates the integral part of x which is nearest and smallest to x. It is also known as floor of x, right? Why it is known as floor of x? Because its graph is seen, its graph is visible like floor, right? See, you can see this floor. Clear? Right. The function fx equal to greatest integer function of x is basically x for all x belongs to integer. When x is integer, it is greatest integer function of x is basically x. And when x is between some n to n plus 1, when n is integer, right? If x is between some integers, then greatest integer function of x is basically lower integer, which is n, right? It is called greatest integer function. So you can see the graph of greatest integer function, right? See, when x is from 0 to 1, the greatest integer function is basically 0. Immediately when x becomes 1, the greatest integer function becomes 1. And when x is from 1 to 2, greatest integer function is basically 1. Like that, right? So this is greatest integer function of x. Fx is equal to greatest integer function of x. Its domain is R and range is I. Fractional part, the symbol fractional part of x indicates the fractional part of x. That is, fractional part of x is basically x minus greatest integer function of x, where x belongs to real. Therefore, y is equal to greatest integer function of x is equal to x minus y equal to fractional part of x is equal to x minus greatest integer function of x. The function fx equal to fractional part of x is basically 0 for all x belongs to integer. When x is basically integer, fractional part of x is equal to 0, and when x is between two integer, then fractional part of x is basically x minus n, right? Where n belongs to I. Next is algebra of real functions, right? We are continuing algebra of real functions. So this representation is called basically fractional part of x. Clear? Is called fractional part of x. The graph of fractional part of x is like this, right? It is from 0 to 1. Clear? And when x is any integer, it becomes integer, right? It becomes immediately integer, right? Clear? Its domain is R and range is from 0 to 1. Least integer function. The symbol x indicates the integral part of x which is nearest and greater than x. The function fx equal to x is equal to x for all x belongs to I, and n plus 1 when x is between n to n plus 1 when n belongs to I is called least integer function, right? The graph of least integer function is like this, right? You have to remember this. It is similar to greatest integer function. The difference is that when x is 1, it is basically 0, right? Clear? Like that. Clear? At integer, it is at at the point between two integers, its value is basically greater integer, right? Its domain is R and range is I, right? Next, we will see the transcendental function. Transcendental function is the function which is not algebraic, is called transcendental function, right? Next is exponential function. The function fx is equal to fx equal to a to the power x, where a greater than 0 and a not equal to 1 is called exponential function, right? Its domain is R and range is 0 to infinity, right? Range is 0 to infinity. You can see that. See, when a is from 0 to 1, graph is decreasing, and when a is greater than 1, graph is increasing like this. Clear? Next is algebra of real functions. Right? You can see that here it is one function, right? Because when you draw graph parallel to x-axis, right? When you draw any graph parallel to any line parallel to x-axis, it is cutting the graph at one point only. Clear? So it is basically one function, right? It is one function. Clear? Next is logarithm function. The logarithmic function is the function fx equal to log ax x when a greater than 0 and a not equal to 1 is called logarithmic function. So it is the graph of logarithmic function. When a is from 0 to 1, it is decreasing, right? Like this. And when a is greater than 1, it is increasing like this, right? Its domain is 0 to infinity and range is R. It is also one function. For the similar reason, when you draw any line parallel to x-axis, it is cutting at one point only, right? Clear? So it is also one function. Next is trigonometric functions and some standard trigonometric. The trigonometric functions, the some standard trigonometric functions with their domain and ranges are given below. First is sine function, which is fx equal to sine x, right? The graph of y equal to fx equal to sine x is basically like this, right? Its domain is all real value and range is from -1 to 1. You can see that the graph is lying between -1 to 1. Cosine function fx equal to cos x. Its domain is R and range is -1 to 1, right? Its domain is all real value and range is again -1 to 1. Next is tangent function fx equal to tan x. It is like this, fx equal to tan x. Clear? The graph of fx equal to tan x is like this. Clear? You have to remember this. Its domain is R, all real value except 2n plus 1 pi by 2, right? That is x should not be odd multiple of pi by 2 because tan x is basically sin x upon cos x, and for this function, for this tan x to be defined, cos x should not be equal to 0, right? And cos x is 0 at odd multiple of pi by 2, right? So its domain is all real value except odd multiple of pi by 2, right? When n is basically integer and range is R. Next is inverse trigonometric functions. Some inverse trigonometric functions with their domain and range are given below. Y equal to fx equal to sine inverse x. See, sin x, see, it is the graph of y equal to sin x. So since sin x is inverse of sin x, so its graph is basically mirror image with respect to line y equal to x, as we have studied, right? So graph of y equal to sin inverse x is like this. Clear? Next is Its domain is domain of sine inverse x is -1 to 1 and range is minus pi by 2 pi by 2 to pi by 2. As we know that for two inverse functions, domain and range basically swipe each other, right? Domain of fx becomes range of f inverse x, and range of fx becomes domain of f inverse x, right? Next is y equal to fx equal to cos inverse x. You can see that this is the graph of y equal to cos x, right? This is the graph of y equal to cos x, right? So y equal to cos inverse x is basically the graph of y equal to image of y equal to y equal to graph of cos x with respect to line y equal to x, right? Right. Again, its domain is from -1 to 1 and range is 0 to pi. C part is y equal to fx equal to tan inverse x. You can again see that y equal to tan x and tan inverse x are mirrored image of each other with respect to line y equal to x. Its domain is all real value r and range is minus pi by 2 and range is again minus pi by 2 to pi by 2 open bracket, right? Next is nature of a function. A function fx is said to be odd function if a function fx is said to be odd function if f of minus x equal to minus of fx for all x, right? A function fx is said to be even function if f of minus x equal to f of x for all x. Different conditions for even and odd functions: fx gx, fx plus gx, and fx minus gx. If fx is odd and gx is odd, then fx plus gx will be odd and fx minus gx will also be odd. If fx is even and gx is even, then fx plus gx is even, fx minus gx is even. Fx is odd, gx is even, then fx plus gx is neither odd nor even, and fx minus gx is also neither odd nor even. If fx is even, gx is odd, then fx plus gx is neither odd nor even, fx minus gx is neither odd nor even, right? Now fx into gx. See, if fx into gx is even and fx upon gx is even, then g of fx is even and f of gx is also even. Also, if fx into gx is even and fx upon gx is odd, then if one of them is odd, then both of g of fx and f of gx is odd, right? Clear? So if fx into gx is even and fx upon gx is odd, then g of fx is odd, f of gx is odd. Also, if fx into gx is odd and fx upon gx is even, then g of fx is odd and f of gx is odd. Similarly, if fx into gx is odd and fx upon gx is odd, then g of fx is even and f of gx is even, right? Next is every function can be expressed as sum of an even and odd function, right? Zero function fx equal to 0 is only function which is both even and odd, right? So fx equal to 0 is both even and odd. Graph of odd function is symmetrical about origin, right? Clear? Graph of odd function is symmetrical about origin, that is in first quadrant and third quadrant, right? Graph of even function is always symmetrical about y-axis, right? Graph of even function is always symmetrical about y-axis. For example, you can see that y equal to fx is even function. It is symmetrical about y-axis, and y equal to x cube. It is odd function. It is symmetrical in opposite quadrant or symmetrical about origin, right? So you can remember this. Next is periodic function. Periodic function. A function fx is said to be periodic function if there exists a positive real number t such that f of x plus t is equal to fx for all x belongs to real. The smallest value of t is called the fundamental period of fx, right? The smallest value of t is called the fundamental period of fx. Next is properties of periodic function. A function fx is periodic with period capital T, then c of fx or c of x plus c or f of x plus c and fx plus minus c is periodic with period t. If fx is periodic with period t, then k of f of cx plus d has period t upon mod c, right? You have to remember this. If fx is periodic with period t1 and gx is periodic with period t2, then fx plus gx is periodic with period equal to LCM of ft1 and t2, provided there is no positive k such that f of x plus k is equal to gx and g of x plus k is equal to fx. If fx is a periodic function with period t and gx is any periodic function such that range of f belongs to range of f subset of domain of g, then g of f is also periodic with period t, right? So period of some of the important functions are given below. You can see this. See, period of sin x, cos x, sec x, cosec x, and sin x to the power odd thing, right? Sin x to the power odd, period 2 pi. Again, cos x to the power odd thing, sec x to the power odd thing, cosec x to the power odd thing is period 2 pi, right? Next, 10x cot x, 10 to the power nx, cos to the power nx, sin to the power 2n. Power is even. Cos to the power 2n is period is pi. Also, sec to the power 2x, cosec to the power 2n, mod sin x, mod cos x, mod tan x, period is pi. Period of mod cot x, mod sec x, mod cosec x is basically 2 pi, right? You have to remember this. Also, period of period of mod of sin x plus cot x, mod of sin x plus cos x, or sin to the power 4x plus cos to the power 4x is basically pi by 2. Period of mod sin x plus mod cos x or mod tan x plus mod cot x is 1. Period of x minus greatest integer function of x does not exist, right? You have to remember this. That is, period of fractional part of x is basically does not exist. Clear? You have to remember this. Now let's see summary of this chapter we have studied so far. A function f a to b is said to be a real valued function if b subset of r, the set of real numbers, if both a and b are subset of r, the set of real numbers, then f is called real function, right? Note, if every function is real valued function, but converse need not to be true, right? After that, we have seen the domain and range of real function. After that, we have seen algebra of real function, in which we have seen if f of g is equal to I is equal to g of f, then f and g are inverse of each other. If f of f inverse equal to ib and f inverse of f is equal to ia, and f inverse of f inverse is equal to f, right? Now let's see identity function. The identity function fx equal to x is known as identity function. Its domain is r and range is also r. Greatest integer function x, greatest integer function of x indicates that integral part of x which is nearest and smallest than x, it is also known as floor of x, right? Now least integer function fx equal to x is equal to x for all x belongs to I, and n plus 1 when x is from n to n plus 1 when n belongs to I is called least integer function. Also, we have seen nature of function. We have seen odd functions and even functions. Every functions can be expressed as sum of an even function or odd function. After that, we have seen periodic function, we have seen periods of some important functions and properties of periodic functions, right? Clear? Thank you so much.